Wonderful. Welcome along to Film Talk again. And I tell you, I just can't stop laughing thinking about the movie we're going to be talking about today. Delighted to be joined yet again by the wonderful Mark Priest, film guru, film buff, film historian. Mark, welcome back to Film Talk.
Yes, thanks, Richard. And like you just said, I'm so pleased that we chose this because it gave me another chance to watch it just recently. And I'm still laughing thinking about it now. Right.
So there we are. That's The Producers, 1967, written and directed by the incredibly talented Mel Brooks. And I just, hold me, touch me.
I remember you introduced me to the movie far too many years ago now. And I remember watching it around your place. And I started to play and I was thinking, I'm not sure about this, Richard. I didn't mention it. I wasn't sure. But I actually have grown to love it. And it's still hilariously funny, even today. And well worth watching again and again. I absolutely think it's hilarious. And both you and I have laughed over the years just thinking about this film. And some of the quips and lines with the great actors. Zero Mostel. Oh, God.
He's amazing, isn't he? I mean, Zero Mostel, as an actor, is just, you just look at him and you want to laugh.
Yes.
Not in a way that's critical, but he makes you laugh. He's just one of those characters and personalities. His screen presence is just immaculate. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yes, and I think he came straight from playing Topple, didn't he? Fiddle on the Roof.
He did,
this movie. So he has obviously got a great range, and that's a great character to play. And you could just see how that would have worked as for him. But to come into this now, and I'm laughing thinking about it when he's seducing all these old ladies to get money off them. Have you brought Checky? Have you brought Checky?
But Mel Brooks based this on real people, real situations. He couldn't understand how there was a couple of theatre producers in Broadway in the early days who were living this incredible lifestyle, but were always putting on real turkeys at the theatre. And you think, well, how are you making any money? How are you getting this?
No.
So there's kind of some reality in all of that, isn't there?
Yes. And of course, Gene Wilder, Leo Bloom. I'm always curious because, as you know, Peter Sellers was originally potentially going to play that character.
Yes, right, yes.
And I'm sure he would have done a really good job, actually, of it. But Gene Wilder makes it, that's that look of his is just brilliant for this film and just so funny.
And that was the start of a very long relationship on film, or in film, between Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder. I mean, they've worked and collaborated together on many, many titles, very successful.
Very much so. Great success. And Blazing Saddles would also be another great favourite of mine.
Young Frankenstein. I mean, it's Frankenstein, beg your pardon.
Frankenstein. Just they're timeless movies that are just quality, great writing, great script. Mel Brooks, what a fantastic man he is.
Basically, it's the story of Bialystok, this producer who's incredibly unsuccessful, but he gets his money gets his money for the productions by seducing these elderly ladies in his office. Hold me, touch me. And Bloom turns up to do the books, and he's kind of laughing to himself, thinking, well, of course, a producer can make much more money with a flop than he could with a success. And Zero Mostel's eyes light up. What? How can this happen? How can this happen?
Yes.
And the concept is that you just over-invest in the production, and therefore if it flops and nobody makes any money, you don't have to pay anybody back. But of course, if it's a success, then you have to pay back all of these investors, and there isn't enough money to do that, and the fraud gets revealed. So they set about finding a script for a show that is just never, ever going to be a success, that people will rebel against in the extreme. I've written it down here. It's a hell of a title. The film, it's called, so the play was called, that they commissioned, was written by a character called Franz Liebkind,
Yes.
who's an ex-Nazi who's
Yes.
still wearing his uniform and his Nazi helmet and living in the past. And he wrote Springtime for Hitler, a gay romp with Adolf and Eva at the Berchtesgaden.
There's a great scene where Max and Leo turn up to meet him. He's on the roof, isn't he?
That's right, with the pigeons.
With the pigeons. And, Leo says to Max, he's wearing a German helmet. Just so, the way he says it is just so droll. It's just so funny. And then it just goes on from there to meeting these other fantastic characters. And I absolutely love Dick Shaw in this as well. He he plays Hitler, baby.
Yeah, well, he plays an actor called Lorenzo, who plays Hitler as he's kind of 60s youth kind of.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, Hitler, baby. And there's the auditions when they find him. And there's all these kind of wannabe Hitlers doing the salutes and all trying to dress up and look the part, trying to win the character, the role.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely, it's like the worst possible scenarios you could think of, all sort of wrapped up into this production. And I remember thinking the first time, like when you showed it to me, I thinking this is kind of bad taste actually. And of course, I have to remind you of the receptionist.
Ulla.
Ulla, who's Swedish. Leo says, but she doesn't speak any English. That's okay, says Max. She's just fantastic. Watch this. Ulla, go to work. And of course, she just does that dance.
That's in the dancing. The Nazi who's supposed to have written this play is Franz Liebkind, the character, Franz Liebkind, played by Kenneth Mars.
Yes.
But in our research for this and kind of reading up beforehand, isn't it the case that Dustin Hoffman was up for the part?
I know, that's incredible,
I've never heard
isn't
that
it?
before. That's pretty
No, and certainly at that time, and he would have been quite a young man then. It certainly wouldn't have fitted, I don't think, but it may have done. And of course, he didn't take the job because he fortunately got the role in The Graduate, which I dare say was probably a better option.
Playing opposite Anne Bancroft, who was she then or was soon to become Mel Brooks' wife? They married.
I don't think
probably after.
It was just after that. Yes, it was just after that they got married. But as I say, even with Peter Sellers being involved as well to play Leo, it's worth mentioning actually about Peter Sellers' input, because when the film first got released, it was kind of panned actually. It wasn't really given the credit it was supposed to, and was almost going to be shelved by the production company. And Peter loved it so much, absolutely thought it was wonderful, that he personally took out an advert in Variety magazine advocating to see this film. So, which I think that's incredibly generous of him, wasn't it, to be able to do that?
Very much so.
Kept a great movie going, and it just grew from there.
It's known, I think, for this enormous production of the musical theatre production of Springtime for Hitler, which they all think is going to be a disaster. They then go off near the interval to kind of get away from the audience because they all think it's going to be like
they think they're going to be murdered.
They go crazy about it. Yeah. And the audience are open-mouthed, agog of what they're seeing.
That's right.
This Hitler, hey baby, Hitler baby, and all this. And then the Springtime for Hitler musical number comes on. All the dancing Nazis and great big headdresses and all sorts of things.
And the guns that come out as well.
That's right, the guns that come out. But it's visually stunning. It's an incredibly well staged set or sequence, and a routine in the film. A beautiful music too, a great song and dance routine. I mean, the subject is very serious, but its presentation is highly comical and very effective in getting its subtext across, I think, in that way.
It went from this sort of like very small cast, very, very tightly filmed, and then it suddenly explodes into this wonderful theatre production. Very typical of Mel Brooks movies, actually, isn't it? They start off in a very sort of humble way, and then they become this sort of like Blazing Saddles. It becomes this full-blown
Massive madcap.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, madcap. Good word use. And it just, I just love that film, and I love them sitting in the bar, as they're sort of pondering over how much money they're going to rob from the old dears, and then of course, then the audience come in at the halftime interval.
At the interval, yes.
And oh my God, they love the show. It's they can't wait to get back in. They don't want to miss. This is going to run for years and years. This production, and honestly, you couldn't make it up, could you? The success was the last thing they thought would happen. It's a great film.
Mel Brooks, The Producers, 1967. Zero Mostel, Gene Wilder, Dick Shawn, Chris Hewitt, Kenneth Mars, Lee Meredith, and Estelle Winwood. Hold me, touch me. Great characters. Wonderful cast, wonderful story. Highly recommended.
Absolutely.
It'd be great to know what you think, so do leave some comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that little bell icon to get a notification every time we release a new video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.